Merry Christmas, everybody. It's next week. Are you guys just as excited as I am? I'm so excited. Today, we are going to be talking about how Christmas has become too crazy. Am I the only one who feels this way? There's too much to do, too much going on. What our kids believe about Santa Claus and this whole thing. It used to be so amazing and warm and carefree and beautiful, especially when I was a kid growing up. I loved this time of year. But now it just seems a little chaotic and a little crazy. So today we're going to kind of dive into what that is and how to get back. Our mental health is very imperative during this time, and it shouldn't be shattered and made worse just because we're hanging out and we're having family over or whatever it may be. All right, let's go into it. Welcome to Life Reassembled. This is the podcast where we learn how to reassemble our lives. I'm Julie Renee. I'm a life coach specializing in trauma recovery and a speaker. Together, we're going to be exploring what it really means to reassemble our lives on the rock after we've spent our entire lives piecing it together on sand. Here, we're going to talk about healing the mind, renewing the spirit, and organizing the parts of our lives that were once overwhelmed by complete chaos. Each episode is a space for reflection, faith, and practical steps for living with peace and intention. So, take a deep breath with me, settle in with some warm coffee, and let's begin reassembling our lives, piece by piece, together. The to-do list during this time of year can seem completely endless. You have many dinners to go to, all these events to attend, family you have to shop for, money you have to spend that you don't really have, and it just becomes this insane tradition, sadly, that was kind of formed from just the world's view of how we do this holiday. It turned into something further than I think what was intended, especially for those who just enjoy the holidays, enjoy the movies, enjoy the cocoa. And it seems like every year there's a new tradition coming up. We got Elf on the Shelf now. We have the movie Elf. But there's like still the nostalgic movies that from the past. And it's like, how do you have time to do all these things and still have like your mental peace and everything going forward? And there's people who celebrate Christmas as the tradition of when Jesus was born, even though a lot of people believe that he wasn't born until the springtime, but they're kind of basing it off of when they think Mary was pregnant and going off of that. There's all these different things and structures that are in place. And it's just like, where do we begin? How do we find this mental peace? And with Christmas just a week away, and then it rolls right into New Year's and then the new year, there's just a lot going on. And so we have to just kind of dial it back, go back to what we really need. And we have to be careful of the pressures from the outside when we're still working on the inside. So you may have the family pressures to be here, to do this, to buy this present for these people. And fair enough. Absolutely. However, there's ways of going about that. And it really depends on your situation. But let's just say you feel very obligated to buy a present for your cousins and your parents and your grandparents and all this and that. But you are kind of, maxed out on your spending, and you know that rent's going to be coming up on the 1st anyway. So how do we combat this? The best way to do it, honestly, is to make something. If you have any type of skill, or if you're starting a new skill, this is a great gift, is your time. To put something together and to spend time on it is a wonderful, beautiful way to honor somebody. Doing something homemade, or anything like that is also a beautiful way to show your love and appreciation towards that person. You're putting thought into something that they want, something that you're contributing, and it's so much more meaningful than just buying something from the store that they're just going to look at and go, oh, thank you so much, and then put in their closet. Like, that's a lot of money and time spent for them not to even really appreciate it. But if it's something more from the heart, it's most likely going to stay in their lives for a lot longer. And that's the goal, especially if you're on a very tight budget. Now, there's people who have all the money in the world and they'll do all that, and God bless them for it. And then they're going to be calling me at the end of the day to be like, hey, we need to organize all of our stuff and get rid of all these things because we just collected too much stuff. So I'm happy with that situation also. But the important thing, honestly, is the mental health during this time. We really have to stay grounded throughout all the chaos. We can feel so overwhelmed because our expectations of what we need to be doing during this time of year can get kind of muddled with what the world is telling us to do, what our family is telling us what to do. And so I encourage all of you, if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed during this holiday season, is to really what do you need during this time? What makes you satisfied during this time that is good for you and for others? If you need to create that space, create your own traditions, create that, I'm going to say space again, because really what it is you're creating that space where you're like, no, we're going to do this, I'm going to do that, and be respectful of what other people want to do, but make sure that you're voicing your own concerns and expressions and what you need to provide. There was years that I didn't provide any Christmas gifts for my family because money was pretty much in the negative for so long. And so I went through a lot of years. I just showed up and I smiled and I was just with my family, and nobody cared. Nobody really cared that I wasn't able to bring gifts. Or you can buy maybe something from the store or make something that's food related and you share it with everybody, like a very special traditional cake or a pie or, whatever, that's something that's meaningful to you and can feed all the people. And you have to think about all those who don't have anything, who don't have much. So whatever you have is more than other people have. There's always a person in a worse situation than where you're at, which is so mind-blowing, because at what point does the person who has absolutely nothing, where does it end? And I'm thinking too, sometimes those who have less are more grateful than those who have more. This is a great time to really just kind of dig down and check our hearts, check our situations. And a great tradition that I've been seeing actually online, which is super easy to do, is to go through all of your stuff, have your kids go through all their toys, and to donate it. Now, we're going to roll into Santa Claus right now, because a lot of times those families, what they do is they have all the kids kind of collect toys that they don't play with anymore, things they want to give to other kids. They kind of put that together and give it to Santa Claus, and then he trades it out for newer stuff. So I understand the concept of it. And those who are doing the whole Santa Claus thing, I get it. However, what are we doing when it comes to Santa Claus? I really want to roll into this right now because it's breaking my heart. And I'm noticing, as a parent who has always taught my kids the truth about St. Nicholas and who he was, this amazing man who feared the Lord, by the way, that we don't talk about anywhere. I'm sorry, Coca-Cola, to ruining your image. He most likely wasn't that big, from what I understand. But it just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. I was told at a very young age the truth about Santa Claus. Very young age. My parents waited till my youngest brother understood, and he was old enough to understand, and they told us the truth. So that was great. And they told us the day before Christmas. So that was interesting. However, I really hated the fact that I believed in it and then was told the truth and then didn't believe in it anymore. That was kind of interesting. A lot of kids find out the hard way. They grow up to a very much older age, and then they find out the truth. And then it's heartbreaking. It's so sad. And it's just why are we lying to our kids in the first place? And it's there's no middle ground. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me. So now I'm not anti-Santa Claus, the image of it or whatever. I think we worship it a little too much. And I think that a lot of times people replace, especially children, it's this idea in their head that it replaces God. He watches you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good. It's this fear too. I have to be good for Santa Claus. And it's this whole idea of I'm only going to get something if I'm good. And it's so sad. And it deprives these children of the truth. And they grow up Now, I remember when I was like, I had to be 7 or 8, and my friend was also the same age. And she, honest to God, still believed in Santa Claus. And it just broke my heart because I'm like, okay, this is not really my place to tell her, because like this my poor friend, but like, oh my gosh, why are her parents telling her like these lies? Like, at what point do we like tell them the truth? And there's all these movies about parents deciding like, oh, should we not tell them? Should we tell them? Should we not tell them? And there's an episode of Everyone Loves Raymond, and Raymond's trying to tell Allie, his oldest daughter, the truth, and she's like 6 or so, 5 or 6, and he's trying to tell her the truth about Santa Claus, and his wife is like reaming on him about it, like, and she's like, don't tell her that, don't tell her this, don't tell her that. And then there's an episode of Home Improvement where Mark is looking at the sky and he sees Santa Claus, but everyone thinks it's Wilson because like that's who he was earlier when he gives them the gifts. But then all of a sudden they see Wilson still in the backyard, and then Mark's looking at, it has like the jingle jingle music and all this and that. And he's like, oh no, Santa Claus is real. And it's just like, this has been going on. I'm telling you this because it's been going on for a long time. Obviously there's more modern movies and TV shows that do this, and I can't. Why aren't we telling them the truth? St. Nicholas was an amazing man who gave gifts to children, and he was secret about it. You know why? Because he loved them so much and he didn't want the recognition for it. And so I believe that we should be honoring the traditions that he set forth, because it's a beautiful tradition to give to those who are in need. And oddly enough, he was actually giving a lot of poor kids coal. Believe it or not, because it was cold and they needed to be warm. And so coal was actually a beautiful gift. And it's like so messed up now, because like if you get cold, then you're been bad and you need toys. Like, no, you don't need toys. You need food and shelter and clothing and a warmth, right? So parents, we can do this. We can do this. So I suggest, and pray about it, I suggest telling them the truth about who Santa Claus is based after, who he represents, and the truth about the actual Santa Claus character. Because even though I believe there might be a spirit behind that, possibly, it's good to understand, like, okay, the traditions of giving gifts kind of started with this, and we love that, and we can practice that if you want. However, when we see the image of Santa Claus, we need to understand that it is commercialized, that Coca-Cola started this back in the day, and it is an image and a character that we do not worship, that we don't try to leave cookies out. I'm sorry, we are leaving milk and cookies out? Kind of sounds a little bit like we're paying homage. Is that just me, or like, do you guys see what I'm talking about? Why I think there's a spirit behind this. Carrots out for the reindeer. I'm sorry, I didn't know that reindeer weren't real until I was an adult, because I always thought reindeer were part of the whole Santa Claus make-believe thing. I didn't know reindeer were real. Yes, they're real, but hey, they just don't fly. They're not magic fairies in any way. And so as long as your kids can know the truth about it, they can see Santa Claus as like, oh, okay, this is just for fun. This is just for pretend. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with telling children the truth about this? And let that be fun enough. Let the elf not be a real elf, and he's sneaky and he does all these things, and he's part of Santa Claus's little crew. I think elves are just not from God either, but that's up to you guys to discern about. Oh, sorry, I get really upset when it comes to this thing, and the kids get so confused, and then they can't talk to other kids about it because it's like so delusional. And then like you get kids arguing and fighting over like, no, Santa Claus is real, Santa Claus is not real. Like, why does he have to be real? sorry, I'm like really upset about this. Really upset about this. Children should know the truth. If you want your children to trust you, tell them the flippin' truth. Why is that so difficult? Don't be mean about it. Don't be like, oh, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Santa Claus is not real. Okay, good night. Bye. No. Tell them the truth. Why this character exists in the first place. He's based off of this wonderful man who did these wonderful things. And now in celebration of what he did, we kind of can carry on the tradition. And it has gone a little bit above and beyond of what it really is because it makes money. Ta-da! And guess what? It's the truth. It doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. And then it gives them the opportunity to make discernment and judgment about how much they want to participate in the whole Santa Claus thing. But do y'all want to take pictures with this guy and your kids are screaming and crying because that's a stranger. And I'm sorry, how much background checks do they do on these guys that are having thousands of children sit in his lap? Parents, wake up. Have discernment. It is not imperative that you have your kid have a picture with Santa Claus. Who flippin' cares? Have fun with it, but like don't just be like, oh, it's Santa Claus and I'm going to be so blind to this whole thing and like, oh, we're going to do this and oh, we're going to do that and like, oh, we have to pretend and all your gifts are from Santa and like you have to be good. Y'all, you're making it a bigger deal. You're feeding into the system and you're giving money to what? What good is that money? I don't care if you have $1 million. Why are you spending it on these things? And why are you lying to your kids about it? You want your kids to have mental health. Mental health. Don't lie to them. Don't put these deceptions into their brains. They're going to find out the truth as they get older anyway. And then how do you think that's going to happen between the two of you guys? How are they going to view you? And please don't tell me you're still telling them this BS story about the tooth fairy and the Easter bunny. Please don't tell me. Now, I'm all for like movies that have them in there. The Rock is the tooth fairy in a movie. I've never seen the movie, but like, okay, that's funny because obviously it's so out of like the norm of like who he is and what he represents. And that's like the tooth fairy. It's silly and funny. But again, I haven't seen the movie. So I don't know how much magic is in there, but it's a fairy. So I can only imagine. It makes it more fun when the kids know the truth. They can still have an amazing imagination and still be creative, even if they know the truth. If anything, it probably makes them more imaginative and more creative. We need to simplify Christmas. And part of that is bringing truth to the table. Keep it simple. You want to add all these things. You want to add all this stuff, and it's too complicated. It's too overwhelming. You're spending how many hours putting up Christmas lights? You're spending how many hours taking it off? How much money is going into all the decorations and this and that? And I am an event planner. I love decorations. I love setting things up. I love having the events. And guess what? Then you got to tear it all down when it's over. So there is a time and a place. I'm not anti these things. What I'm saying is, how much are you spending and acknowledging what you're spending? If you are aware of how much money you're spending on Christmas, how much time you're spending on Christmas, how much energy you're spending on Christmas, and you are in agreement with those things, awesome. Does that make sense? Like, I'm trying to make sure that you guys understand where I'm coming from. I'm not anti these things. I'm anti the blindness. I'm anti the unawareness. I'm anti not understanding what we're doing. Here we are trying to work on our mental health, reassemble how our lives are going. And this season is a great way to reevaluate how we approach this season. Now, some people have this down. They're like, we're making it simple. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're going here. We're going on vacation. We're not even celebrating Christmas. We're doing this. Awesome. But you're aware of it. And that's what makes mental health so imperative, is being aware. But if you're stressed about this season and you cannot wait for it to be over, what fun is that? And then why are you even participating? Does that make sense? I'm hoping I'm getting through to you guys. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to say no. It's okay not to go to dinner parties. It's okay if they don't like you afterwards. It's okay. Everyone has their own thing going on. But we have to keep it sacred. And for those who do honor Jesus Christ as our Lord during this time, because hey, it doesn't matter which day we celebrate it. It doesn't tell us in the Bible exactly, hey, he was born on this exact date, right? We can celebrate it at any time. And it is kind of cool, even though we kind of chose this day for a couple of different reasons. We chose this day, and I say we as a Christian community. And what a wonderful time to celebrate that. And it's kind of cool because we're all celebrating the birth of Jesus together. So I really do like that, and I do appreciate that. But we have to be careful also because there's all these things coming out, and we have to be careful how we're worshiping Jesus in this season. If you're choosing to worship Jesus. My heart goes out to you guys in regards to your mental health during the season, because it can easily, without you knowing, get taken away from you. Slow down. Slow down. Figure out where your priorities lie when it comes to this season. And be okay with not doing things that you used to do. If you've been putting up lights for 10, 15 years, that's your thing. Your house is the house. It has all these lights on. And you decide this year, you know what? I'm okay not doing it. Awesome. If you've never put lights up before, and this year you want to start, awesome. Just be aware. Self-awareness is going to get you guys through this holiday so much easier. So much easier. But set your boundaries for yourself first and gently communicate that with others as needed. And just have fun with this time. And there might be some of you guys who are not going to enjoy the holidays. Maybe this time represents a really hard time in your life. Maybe somebody died. Maybe somebody got sick. Maybe this is the first Christmas you're spending without somebody special. So this season could be a reminder of how hard it's going to be to get through this day. My prayer and my heart goes out to you now for that as well. But the more that you associate mentally and physically with reminding yourselves of what you don't have, what is lacking during this season, it'll be harder to do that again the following year, and so on. Do not create a Christmas tradition of pain and sorrow and sadness. Do not let that be created in your hearts. Do not open yourself up to, this season's going to be hard. This season is going to be sucky. Don't become like the Grinch. I do like that story because he associated Christmas with a lack of family. He didn't receive this love that everyone else got, that he saw. We sometimes can become Grinch-like without even realizing it. We can become like Scrooge, and you associate Christmas with negative feelings and emotions. And fair enough, things happen. Holidays can be absolutely very difficult. So my encouragement to you is to find something good and hopeful. If you do believe in Jesus, that's hopeful, to celebrate his birthday. If that's all you can do, to get through this year, to get through this holiday season, make Jesus a cake, sing happy birthday to Jesus, and have that intimacy with him during this time. Thank him for coming to this earth to save us, and how he came. He came as an innocent baby who had to be taken care of. So beautiful, absolutely beautiful. When we're focused on ourselves and what we lack, we become Grinch-like. We become Scrooges. You don't think there's a spirit behind that? When we are self-seeking, looking at what we don't have, not even just during a Christmas season, but on any season, it will start to destroy you. This season represents giving. It represents thankfulness. It represents joy and hope. So even if you can't relate to that just quite yet, don't marry yourself to the idea of it being negative and horrible and lacking. Look for what you do have. If you have breath in your lungs, be thankful for the breath in your lungs. Start small, but start living a traditional Christmas of hope and thanksgiving and beauty. Because guess what? You're so precious, and God created you for so much more than for you to think about what you're not having during this time. Think about what you do have. And the best way to get out of that rut, if you're like trying to, but you just can't, you keep getting sucked back into the self-centeredness, the best thing to do is to volunteer. There's tons of places, wherever you're at, there's going to be tons of places to volunteer during this season. And when you give soup to like a homeless person, that will change your heart alone. My love to all of you during this time. Merry Christmas to all. And I'm not going to say it to all a good night because that's just weird. But I love you all. May God bless you during this season. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation on Life Reassembled. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who is also rebuilding their life, because none of us are meant to do this alone. To keep growing with us, join us on the Life Reassembled Facebook community. Check out our free identity blueprint on our website, or learn more about our coaching and upcoming courses at reassembledlife.com. That's re-assembledlife.com. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Life Reassembled for daily encouragement and resources. Remember that healing doesn't happen overnight, but every small step forward is part of reassembling your life.